Greetings to whomever my audience may be. My name is SDavis, and I will be doing my own personal reflection on how technology transforms learning in the classroom. So, let's begin. So, has my perspective on technology use in the classroom evolved somewhat? Absolutely. As you see with my initial thoughts and my current thoughts, at first I just thought technology use was for the teacher. I thought that I was incorporating technology if I put up a PowerPoint or if I showed a YouTube video, or if I'm using automatic name generator, and it was technology use for me. I was able to utilize it, but I was very limited in how I let my students use technology. And sometimes if kids misbehave, I would take away technology as almost a sort of type of punishment. And I see now in retrospect that was actually wrong. It caused them to miss learning opportunities that they otherwise probably would have received had I given them access to use that technology throughout their learning of the content that I taught. So I do feel that it actually did more harm than help. So I do believe now, after taking this course, that the incorporation of technology in my curriculum is far greater of a reward than the risk is. Now, according to the cognitive theory load, we can't do two things at one time. So multitasking, I now feel there's no such thing, because one of the tasks that we are performing will take a loss. We won't be able to perform both of those tasks to the best of our abilities. Both of those tasks will not have quality. Give an example for my students. I could be doing a PowerPoint lecture, and I have the PowerPoint lecture behind me, and the only thing that my kids could concentrate on were the words on the screen. I can be in front giving them, okay, here's the gist, or here are the things that you need to know, highlighted things that you may want to record in your notes. You may want to know this before we do our lab or before we take our test. But when I get ready to go to the next slide, they would be like, hey, Ms. Davis, can you go back? I wasn't finished. And I was like, what did I just summarize this for? So now I see they couldn't pay attention to me and the PowerPoint behind me. And so that does support the cognitive theory law. I was very surprised to see that. They can't do things more than one task effectively. Our brains just aren't wired that way. So with the dual coding for learning, this just goes back to UDL, because giving the students two opportunities to learn, which is multiple means of representation, makes them twice as likely to remember the content that they've been taught. So for example, I'm a biology teacher, and when we get on the genetics unit, students have to know the difference between the two terms, genotype and phenotype. I'm going to show you a little image on my phone. Maybe if you can see the stuff, folks, and here we go. So with genotype, that's dealing with the genes, the letters, and phenotype is the physical description. So yes, I do give them black and white words on a paper, but now that I know that the dual coding supports the UDL, which we are utilizing at our school, I can have little graphics right by the definition, so they could associate that visual with the terminology, and they'll be more than likely to remember what I've taught them with the dual coding. So when I got to the 12 principles of learning, one of the principles that caught my attention was the segmenting principle. And basically it states that when you are presenting a multimedia lesson, if the information is presented in smaller chunks than versus a continuous one, students are more likely to remember that information. I truly believe that. The past few years, I've been using an online platform called Edpuzzle, and Edpuzzle lets you import videos from anywhere, such as YouTube or National Geographic. You just copy and paste a link to your Edpuzzle page, and you could pause the video. So let's say if it is a 15-minute video and you know good and well that you are not going to keep the attention of your students for 15 to 20 minutes. And with a classroom 50 to 60 minutes, we have to guard our instructional time. Our instructional time is very valuable. So if we have a long video that we want to show them, we don't have to do it in the classroom with Edpuzzle. Basically, we could give it to them a few days ahead or the night before. We can give that to students as homework. So when they come in the classroom, they already know what's going on because it supports the flipped classroom. Edpuzzle allows you to stop and pause and check for understanding along the way. So they may watch the first 2 minutes and going to give them a question. Okay, well, what was this? What was that? You know, they have to answer the multiple choice questions, and it's checking for understanding along the way. It's not time for them to go to sleep. So the kids are going to pay attention to, because for one, is quiz questions embedded in the video, and they know that their grade is tied to it. And you also give them multiple opportunities to do it over. So if they bummed it the first time, you can reset it and they can do it over. They can rewind and they can learn at their own pace. So when they do come to classroom the next day, teachers, we're not the sage on the stage, so to speak. It is the student stage, and we're just merely directing. We're letting them foster those rich conversations and have that important dialogue. And that way we don't lose valuable instructional time. With the modality principle, it states that we learn better from graphics and narration versus then animations and on-screen text. I believe this as well. Think of this. Movies with subtitles. I hate those. Think about all of the stuff that you miss because we're too busy trying to read the on-screen text. We're trying to read it verbatim, and meanwhile we're missing all of that action-packed graphics that are going on in the background. Now just imagine if you watch that same movie for the second time without the on-screen text. Just imagine what you missed, and you'd be like, oh, I didn't realize that the first time. Duh. This supports the cognitive theory load. We cannot multitask. Again, our brains are not wired that way. As we all know, students love technology, whether it is from their cell phones, their one-to-one devices, their iPads. They love technology. So we definitely know student engagement does go up. That's a benefit of using technology in the classroom, because they're not responsible for what they learn. We're responsible for that, but they're responsible for how they learn it when we incorporate technology. And if they know that they play a part in how they learn, they're going to be uber engaged. So that's definitely a benefit. All right, so technology and teacher planning. All right, so we do have to keep in mind the cognitive processes that students have when we plan. We have to be very intentional with our planning. And Lynn Strom, she stated that technology provides educators with the opportunity to move from simply streamlining the way things have been to really imagining the things that they would like to do. This statement was just so paramount and said very well with me, because if we think about just doing things the way they've always been done, but time we incorporate that technology, that's going to give us educators that creative edge. And when we have that creative edge, that's going to create an even much better experience for the students that we teach. So it's going to allow us to step outside of the box. Okay, when we think about TPAC, it has those three areas that must all marry together. The pedagogy, the content knowledge, and the technological aspect of it. Now, you can have all the content knowledge in the world and use technology just for the sake of it. But if you don't have the right pedagogy that isn't aligned for that knowledge, to transfer that knowledge, is pointless. I've gotten better with the strategies that I choose, because I know that having the right pedagogy really does make a difference, whether it sticks or not with your students. So the pedagogical knowledge, the content knowledge, the technological knowledge, all have to marry together so you can get that sweet spot of TPAC. So when I think about STEM schools, I do feel that this is a trend that is here to stay. It is not going anywhere. As a matter of fact, I work at a school for the first year. We will be a STEAM school for the 2018-2019 school year for the first time. And with a STEAM school, with the A in it, it is incorporating the visual arts and drama and dance into core content courses, core content areas. And when you really think about it, we've been incorporating the arts all along. We think about it, may have kids write a rap to a concept that, write a rap that helps them remember a concept, original poems, drawing their own depictions of how they understand a concept. That's incorporating the arts. Also, when you think about drama and dance, in biology, I even had my kids choreograph a dance to show the separation of chromosomes and mitosis. So that's incorporating the arts into content areas to make sure that we are a STEAM school and we just don't forget about those other realms of things that students need to learn. Data. Data is very important. We've been using data for a while now, well, ever since I've been an educator, and data is what drives instruction. So we have to look at how our kids are doing on unit assessments in the classroom, look at how they're faring with other teachers in the school, across the district, across the state, nation, and across the world. So data will drive instruction. It will also help us rewrite the curriculum if we need to, a national curriculum, and it's going to help us in the long run. So I don't see data or the STEAM school initiative going away. That's going to continue to be a growing trend. Projected careers. I did read in one of our readings that 65% of the students that are entering school today will be in jobs that don't exist today. That data is very staggering. When we look at other and it was in the paper called Coding is Literacy. When we look at other countries such as Finland and South Korea, they're teaching their students, and this is a part of their curriculum, how to debug computers, learning the software and the hardware computers, algorithms. We don't do that here. I mean, some students kids may take that on as a hobby on their own, but the most our kids know how to do is surf the net, download an app, use the app, type. That's about it. So that's a problem. And when we think about 65% of the kids that are entering school now will be working a job that does not exist today, that's just making a even more narrow job field for them, just because they lack the skills. It's going to be very competitive for them to get a job. So that's a little alarming. And this furthermore lets us know that technology isn't going away. It's here to stay. So we just got to get with it or get gone, because it's not going anywhere. So I came up with my own epistemology of learning, and this is what I came up with. Epistemology is the practice of a concept or exposure to it in recurring and different ways. I do feel that learning will be meaningful for students if they have plenty exposures to a concept, plenty of ways to practice, and this just spirals back at the end of the day to UDL. If they have those multiple means of representation, multiple means of action and expression, and multiple means of engagement, not only will learning be meaningful, but it will not be any type of rote learning. It will be something that they could potentially store to their long-term memory, and this could be something they will remember for the rest of their lives. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed. Until next time. Later.